All right, so you've been playing tennis for a little while and you've plateaued and you're frustrated. This might have happened for a few years, it might have just happened recently, but all the same, you feel like you just aren't getting any better. You're just still going through the same frustrations. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going wrong and how you can change this trend. So what are the things that are keeping you from getting better at tennis? Number one, you are not practicing the way you're competing. Now, this is something that Craig O'Shaughnessy talks quite a bit about. An actual tennis match is very different than the way the vast majority of people practice the game. When you typically practice with your partner or even with a coach, there's generally a good amount of hitting, there's a little bit of feeding, you work on technique, you do a little bit of volleys, you do a few minutes of serves, and then maybe at the end of that, you start to play points. That's not the way that you play matches. What happens when you get a short ball and the ball is up high? What about your runaround forehand? What about hitting patterns, your short angles? How often are you actually practicing these shots? More so than just focusing on your technique in a nutshell in your lessons, you should also be thinking about situational play and try to construct your practices to mirror what you're doing in matches. There's definitely a time and a place to be hitting back and forth, but there's absolutely a disconnect in many players between the way that they practice and the way that they play. And for you to really make improvement, you need to start bringing these things together. Reason number two is that you're reinforcing bad habits. If you practice the same mistakes over and over again, you're going to actually entrench those mistakes deeper and deeper into habit. Now, there's a lot of reasons why we might reinforce bad habits, but the two that I want to focus on is lack of self-awareness and lack of controlling of the variables. Now, let me explain what I mean. Most people rely on what other people tell them to explain what's going on with their strokes. And a lot of times what we think we're feeling and what other people are seeing are very different. And there's a very easy way to fix this. Start videotaping yourself playing tennis. This is enormous. Everybody's got one of these. You're taking this with you to the court already. Start using this. Get yourself a little tripod, set it up, film yourself from different angles. Film yourself in high speed so that you can see yourself in slow motion. It is the only way that you can visually identify what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And in 2020, you really don't have an excuse not to do this. Everybody's got a pocket camera. It's a brave new world. You've got to start taking advantage of the technology that's available to you. Another reason why you might be reinforcing a bad habit is that you don't know what the right habit is. And you are doing the right thing by watching videos like this. Keep doing your research. There's tons of good online resources that will teach you what the right techniques are supposed to be. Between that, your video analysis, and possibly with the help of a coach, you can take a lot of steps to make sure that you're correcting your bad habits. And then finally, you have to learn how to isolate the different variables so that you're not trying to fix a technical issue with the intense pressure that you might feel when you're playing a match. For instance, two things that I want to do better in my own game is not pull my elbow back quite so far, and also to improve the level of extension that I'm able to get on my forehand contact point. Now, if I try to do this in the context of a match or in the context of a rally, it's going to be a lot harder for me to isolate those variables. So what should I do first? I should start with shadow strokes. I should film myself taking shadow strokes, watch that film, try to identify the kinesthetic feeling of what the right technique is versus the wrong technique. Then I want to move to feeds, whether it's self feeds or if I can have a partner or a coach feed me. Then I can isolate those variables. I film this as well. And then only after I've done this preliminary isolation of these elements do I want to move on to a rally situation, then perhaps a directional rally situation, perhaps a pressure rally situation, and then finally into a match play situation. It's very important that you isolate these variables in such a way that you're able to execute the technique correctly at one of these levels and then build it up progressively. So if you find that you've plateaued in tennis, stop making excuses and start looking for new ways of approaching the game that will make it more possible. There's a lifetime of information to learn, so make sure that you keep on learning new things and then apply them to your practices in the most efficient way possible. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you like this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in seeing more videos like this. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below. And until then, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.